Hello and welcome. We are the fourth year UCT Systems Development Team, also known as NDO-T2, and we have made an app for NOOSi, which is a care provider service company. We will start by showing you a demonstration of the app we built. On the slide, we have two people, and the following slides will showcase their roles in our system and how our functionality meets their needs. We will start with Tembi Ndlovu, who will register as a client on our app to schedule an appointment, followed by Chang Su, who is a NOOSi's existing nurse, who will confirm and proceed with Tembi's appointment.
Tembi has just downloaded the NOOSi app and is excited to schedule her first care request and receive home-based healthcare from a trusted NOOSi nurse. But first, she'll need to create a new account before she can log in. Tembi will do this by clicking on the Create New Account button, which will redirect her to the Create New Account screen. Here, the screen prompts Tembi to enter an email address, her full name, and her password. It's good to note that all these fields are checked for validation, as in the email address will expect a entry that is of the email format. Full name will require a certain amount of length, and the same as password, which will require a certain amount of length as well as some characters to just ensure that a strong password is set. So to get started, Tembi will enter in her email address, her full name, and as well as a password, which is tembi123#. Great. Now from here, Tembi will sign up. But unfortunately, there seems to have been an error. See, as long as with local validation, we also have server-side validation, which does an additional check to make sure no incorrect data is inputted. And here we can see that this email address is already in use. Now, this would mean that either Tembi had already created an account, or she's using someone else's email, or someone else had used her email. Not very sure why this email address is being used, as Tembi has never made an account before. She'll just correct this and use one of her other email addresses. Fantastic. And from here, Tembi has been able to successfully create an account and is now logged in. What you see here now is the landing screen, which currently is empty, but will show all of her upcoming appointments that she'll soon be booking. And she can now navigate throughout the rest of the app, which we'll go through soon. Now that Tembi has created her account and has successfully signed in, she is free to navigate the app as she wishes. But before going ahead and scheduling an appointment with the nurse, Tembi first wants to get a better idea of what services NOOSi offers, as well as some of the nurses that are on the platform. To do this, Tembi will navigate to the menu on the top left, which will display all the different options for her. The first two, which are the ones that we'll be looking at, are the nurse services and view nurses. The last two are just additional information pertaining to just NOOSi, information about NOOSi that might be relevant to her, such as the frequently asked questions and as well as the company policy, which is also available on the sign up screen. Right, so now Tembi wants to get a better idea of what services NOOSi offers. Once she clicks on this button, it will navigate her to a new screen, which is populated with information that is pulled from the database. It's pulled from the database so that the information displayed here is constantly updated and is the most recent information possible. This allows NOOSi to constantly keep their clientele updated, or their users updated as to what services are being offered by NOOSi. It also gives a brief description of each service just so that users get a better understanding of what each one is. So after reading through the different services, Tembi has decided, she has been looking after her health very well recently, and she just wants to go for a wellness check just to make sure that everything is okay. Let's do a bit of an assessment. Great, so now that she's decided on this, she'll navigate back, and now she wants to see which nurses possibly offer the service. So to do that, she'll navigate to the View Nurses tab, which will then open up the new screen, which displays all the different nurses that are currently loaded onto the system. This displays an image of them, as well as just any additional information that might be interesting to any of the users, just so they can make a better decision on which nurse they would like to use. So under Chang, Tenbi sees that, Chang specializes in wellness checks. Great. So with this done, Tenbi is certain that she will want to use Chang as one of her nurses, and will now go ahead with booking an appointment. Now with a better idea of what service Tenbi is currently looking for, as well as which nurse she wants to book with, Tenbi is ready to book her very first appointment. To do this, she'll click the Schedule an Appointment button, and this will initiate the booking process and navigate her to the Select a Service screen, which is populated with all the different services that were seen on the prior screen, as well also pulled dynamically from the database so that it is up to date at all times. Of course, Tenbi already knows which service she's going for, so she'll click on the wellness check. And then this will allow her to then pick on the specific procedures she's wishing to go through within the session. For each different service, there's a different set of procedures. So, for example, if we click on chronic, we'd get a completely different list of procedures than if we were to click on wellness check, which is what we're going for. These also are dynamically pulled from the database when requested. So, just because Tenbi wants to see exactly how her health's at, she'll go for a consultation, and then move on to the next screen, which will select her location. Now here, Tenbi is given two different options, where she could either select her current location, which will then send her immediate current location as to be set for the appointment, or instead she could select on a map. The reason why there's two different ones is if Tenbi knows that in future she won't be at her home, or she'll be in a different location than when she is now when having the session. So Tenbi will click the current location, and this will then, because we're on an emulator, it will show the current. It will always default to the Google headquarters. I just wanted to show this functionality does work, but instead Tenbi will obviously just select on the map. And here we go. Tenbi will say, yep, I'll be here at my home for the session on the date. And we can hear that is then saved. From this, Tenbi will then move on to then select a date. Tenbi unfortunately fortunately works during the week, so we'll have to make a booking for the weekend. So she selects the 30th, where she'll then select a time. This will then bring up the time picker, and she'll want to book from 10, which is perfect, and then there we go. So then she'll schedule for 10 a.m. on Saturday the 30th for a 2-hour session. From here, once Tenbi clicks select a nurse, it'll then take all this information that Tenbi has inputted, such as the service, the location, as well as the different date and time, to then select a nurse that is available within a working distance from her, and as well as is providing the service that she is looking for. So we click on select a nurse, and we can see that there are 3 nurses that are around Tenbi's area, one of which being Chang, and offering the same service and is available. So as we know, Tenbi did decide that she does indeed want to go with Chang, so she'll click on Chang and then finish it. Here we will then get a confirmation, just to give a summary about the appointment, all the different details about it, just so that Tenbi can do one final check to make sure everything is correct. It also gives a final amount. This is calculated on the different procedures that are taken. So this will act as more of a quote, as if the session goes over time, or if the session requires additional procedures to be done, then that will be changed, but we'll get into that at a later stage. So from this, Tenbi is happy with all the details, and she'll confirm her appointment here by clicking the confirm button. Fantastic. As we can see now, the appointment has been booked for the 30th of October, a wellness check with Chang, and currently the status is pending, as Chang still needs to go through the process of actually looking at the appointment and seeing if she would like to service it or not. And here we can just get a brief little summary of the service. Great, now that Tenbi is done with this, we'll now move on to looking at Chang's perspective and how she will handle seeing this appointment. Now that Tenbi has scheduled her upcoming appointment with Chang, We will log out of her account and sign in as Chang. Chang has been a nurse for many years and is also one of the very first NOOSi nurses. Chang now wants to log into her account so that she can see her upcoming requests as well as if there are any new requests that are incoming. Firstly, she'll obviously enter in her data and then hit the login button, which will then authenticate her and redirect her to the screen. Great. Now here we can see a list of all the current requests that are associated with Chang. You can see that the first two ones are requests that she's already seen and confirmed, as well as here's the most recent one that has just come in, which we know is the one to be from Tembi. But let's get some more information about this request. When clicking on it, it redirects you to a new screen, which will give Chang an overview of everything of the appointment inside here, such as who the client is, what kind of request it is, whether you want to confirm or decline the request, as well as the different details pertaining to the appointment, such as the date, time, duration, the location for where this appointment is going to take place, and as well as the different procedures. Now, Chang has the option to either accept or decline this request. If Chang were to decline it, it would then delete this request for both her and the user. But we will assume happy day scenario as Chang is wanting to service Tembi on this day at this time, and she'll then click the confirm button. Once it is done, we can see that the state of the appointment has changed to confirm, and we'll confirm this as well, or make sure it corresponds with Tembi's request. Let's quickly log into her account. And we can see that yes, indeed, the request has been confirmed and Tembi was also notified about this confirmation.